Imagine a gong. Boom.
Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show, VCQ Live. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello, welcome. Sorry we weren't around last week. Never start with an apology, Dan.
No.
So, screw you guys. No. We're sorry we weren't here last week.
It was a bank holiday.
It was a public holiday in the UK, and Dan and I decided to take it.
We did.
We get quite a few public holidays in the UK, not as many as in Spain, but more than in the US, I think.
Right. Yeah.
TikTok.
Oh heavens, no, don't do that. There we go.
Yeah, a bit more light on this side, I think.
How is everyone?
How are you all?
Roll call.
Splendid.
Hello from a warm and sunny Belgrade from Paul Higgins. Wow.
Belgrade. Nice. Mute. You know that thing? Dead air? It's great, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's like radio.
Yeah. Well, I've been given a task. See, and my brain's going, what?
Hello from Belgium, says Bart Hendricks. Hi, Bart. David Broche, Evergreen, Colorado. Is it? I'd be interested to know. Sweaty London, says Chris Waters.
Nice.
Is there any other kind?
Yes. So funny. Haven't been in London since pre-lockdown.
It's been a minute.
But as soon as the sun comes out in London, no matter where you are, you will see pasty white people with their shirts off lying on the ground wherever there is sun. It's incredible.
Welcome to England.
It's great.
Yeah.
Told you the story about my living with before we were married, living with my wife and her friends when they first came to Australia. And every day they get up and go, guys, the sun's out, come on. And they were like this for months and months. And guys, it's just a sunny day. We have them all the time. Don't worry, there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
But like 6 o'clock in the morning, they get up, see the sun, and it was like, guys, the sun's out. It's like, yeah, it's Tuesday.
Mark Lavinish, hello from Denver, Colorado. 2 Colorado guys representing already. Never been to Colorado. Have I been to Colorado? No. Been to Colorado, Dan?
No, but I did watch the first episode of Sweet Tooth last night, and he was trying to find his way to Colorado.
Right.
Yeah, that's just my little
So, I guess, hello from New Jersey, says Helping Friendly. The Nino says hello from Turnwater, Washington, USA. Lots of Americans on tonight, which is great. Oh, except David H. Reed, who is from Shropshire. Hello, David.
Nice.
Halifax, Nova Scotia, says A. Bondi NS. Dino Guitar Guy from sunny Bournemouth. John Channing says Baking London Town. What's the matter, Dan?
I was just looking at your the numbers.
Sasha Fury, Winnipeg. Hello.
Hello from Connecticut from Tyler DiGiovanni. You like that? I got that.
Gordon Rankin, hello from Cincinnati. Hi, Gordon. Funny story, you woke up at 3 a.m. with an idea for a tube overdrive.
I do that, but then I go back to sleep immediately. Rob Brewer, liking the new telly with the wide range, Dan. Yes, I'll get to that a little bit later, Rob. But yes, it's been wonderful. Been really, really enjoying it.
Mr. Tickall says, can I remind Mick how much of an absolute belter his solo on the Ox EP was? That fuzzy bit with the feedback haunts my dreams. That was a bit of luck, actually. I think I went to step on one thing, ended up stepping on another, and it just went into this glorious harmonic feedback.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Thank
Really
you.
great.
Thank you for saying that.
Oh, that was a fun day.
Yeah, it was. Andre Sigurd on from Brazil. Eagle Ray Rob from Northern Carolina. Aarhus from Denmark. Sanafar, we've been there.
In the middle of R Street. Come on. I'm on fire today.
That was pretty good.
Come on.
That's where we went to see TC Electronic, was Aarhus.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in the middle of our street. Steve Harvey, Muggy Taunton. Hello, Steve. I've been inside all day playing metal.
So Paul David's got in contact and done a challenge and got Mick to do a metal riff. It is out of control. It's so good.
So I've been doing what all fans of metal do, which is staying indoors. Anyway, let's. Shall we get to some super chats, Dan?
Sounds like a plan.
With thanks to everyone for being here. If you're new, welcome. We do this most Mondays at 5 p.m, either Greenwich Mean Time or British Summer Time, depending on what time we're on. And we just answer questions. So if you're new, welcome. It's great to have you along. If you're not new, you guys.
You guys. Just so you know, when we say guys, we're including everyone. When I'm at work, and they're mostly women, it's still, hey guys. You know, I don't mean.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? I don't mean to. I'm not saying men.
You're not being gender specific.
No. I'm saying, hey, I'm guys. Yeah. You guys. You know.
I think it's sort of enshrined in American colloquial language usage, isn't it?
Okay, I get a little bit of.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You get some.
Just a little bit of
some bite.
Just to say.
Some bite back.
I mean, you know, I'm including everyone.
Okay, right. Ben Thompson. Recently, the keys player in my band left. We decided not to replace them, but to get an EHX organ pedal instead. Where should it go in the pedal chain?
Right out the door. No. So I would put that directly after your gain stages. It sounds really good. Okay. Let me clarify that. What you can do, it sounds really good with overdrive going into it. It also sounds really good with a soft overdrive after it. So like it's driving Marshalls, etc. So I would try it in the middle of the chain. If you've got the way that we do it, we have our higher gain pedals first, except for fuzzes, which always come first, and troll boosters before them. But then the lower gain pedals at the end, and if you're using those to boost or to colour, they will naturally be the pedals that have the most headroom, the way they're set up. So, somewhere before the, if you've got a boost pedal at the end, try it before that or before the low gain overdrive.
Yeah,
it can sound really good.
Be interesting to know how you intend to use it, because obviously just sticking a keyboard pedal on your pedal board isn't going to replace a keyboard player, because presumably they play different stuff than you play on the guitar. But so option one, if you just want it to pad out the chords you're playing, then that's quite complex. That's a really complex thing, because you're not playing the right chords. You won't be playing the right keyboard chords. Yeah. Given that keyboard chords tend to be fairly close stacked, and guitar chords are quite far apart, interval wise. However, if it's to do like I don't know, a famous bit in a keyboard, like the beginning to Angels, or I don't know, any famous piano
Robbie
intro,
Williams.
or organ bits in various songs, then I guess it probably makes sense to have a listen to those songs and try and work out what's happening to that keyboard, whether it's a clean keyboard sound or whether it's a distorted keyboard sound. Yeah. Because you're going to have to do some foot tapping to access that sound nice and quickly. Yeah. That's quite the discipline doing that, actually.
Yeah, it is. But if you make it work, it's great. I would say, though, pairing it with an overdrive is a really good shout, because they can sound a little bit synthetic. Yeah. But pairing it with an overdrive and also a phaser is a really nice shout with those. Sticking a phaser on those can sound really good.
Jacob Bartelt.
Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob is in with a trio of opening salvo of 3 questions. He says, "Hey, Dan and Mick, I finally purchased the Hot Rod Deluxe for my wet dry rig, and it is glorious.
Well done, mate.
Cream in colour, special edition with a creamback speaker. Thanks for your help in that journey towards tone."
They're great.
It's such a great choice, the Hot Rod Deluxe.
Yep.
And they do get a bit of hate online, but frankly, what doesn't get a bit of hate online? Yep. It's just such a dependable thing, isn't it?
It is wonderful.
It'd be good. I'd like to hear one with a creamback, actually. Never have. And Jacob also asks, what would be your next pedal collab if you had to pick any pedal builder and effect of your choice? Mick, if you pick Dan Drive Custom Fuzz with a buffer and the heat fix, I call dibs.
Someone said this week you invented that, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
There's some ideas flowing.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think it has been discussed many times.
Yeah, of course.
Ever since 1967, really, isn't it?
Of course. Yeah.
At which point I was not in existence, so I definitely didn't invent that. But the cooled thing. So Dan, if you could have collaboration with anybody to make a pedal, who would it be and what would the pedal be?
As I sit here right now, it would be with Joel Corti.
Yeah.
I was texting him this week actually about a few things, and I don't know, there's something about doing a collaboration with someone who you like, doing it with Robert Keeley and doing it with Jam, and when we've done the, out like the 100 versions of the stuff, Thorpe and all those guys, it's just working with legends who are just genuinely wonderful people.
Yeah.
And I love that. And Joel is one of my favourite people in this industry, and we haven't done anything with him yet, and I would absolutely love to, because I love the guy. I think he's just
And what would it be?
awesome. I think it would be like a cross between the Mood and the Blooper. Maybe just put them into one big pedal. Something like that. I don't know. And put a reverb circuit in as well. I don't know. I'm reaching now. I'm reaching.
And a tea's made. I would like to do a Fuzz with Dan, but he can't build them quick enough.
Yeah.
Or at least Dan builds everything himself, and in order to expand from that would mean a change of situation, which either he's not willing or ready or whatever. It's his choice to stay small, and but it would be great because, like as Dan alluded, it's the relationship
Totally.
that is the valuable thing. And I love Dan with all my heart. He is just a top dude, and this Dan, of course. But that it's all Dan's, isn't it? Dan's everywhere, and that's what matters really. Other than that, be cool to do something with Marcus Reeves, wouldn't it?
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Be brilliant here in the UK. That would be wonderful. But the idea of working with anyone is frankly bonkers.
Yeah, yeah,
isn't it?
Still, yeah, absolutely.
Still sort of sinking in. But yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah, a delay would be good.
Yeah, yeah. Really love the Free the Tone stuff. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Working with those guys.
That would be mad.
Yep.
Mad cool.
Mad cool. Yeah.
Jacob, God blimey, man, you're in tonight. I've been finding myself getting music ADD, attention deficit disorder. For those of you who don't know that, have y'all thought about doing a weekly or monthly TPS playlist like what we're listening to?
Oh, that's good.
And how can I get Longbottom to make me a guitar?
Okay, it'd be Pat Martino, Crowded House, Pat Martino.
Yeah, mine this week has been Sepultura, Lamb of God.
Oh, that's great.
Lamb of God and Cannibal Corpse. You should see my flipping iTunes playlist. It's full of metal. I'm doing this challenge video with Paul Davids, and he's got a few non-metal heads in to do a metal riff, which...
Oh, it's great. What a great idea.
It's a bit like asking my dog to drive the car.
She's a very clever dog, and I'm sure she could.
She could learn.
Don't limit her.
Yeah, we love all doing all those kinds of things, Jake. The absolute truth is neither of us is organised to do anything like that. Organised enough. There's just too much other stuff.
There's always stuff going on.
Yeah. To the point where I don't even play the guitar week on week, let alone be able to think about stuff like that. But It would be really cool. It would be really cool to do. Not least, I think, because it would encourage some wider listening, which is always a good thing, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the last part of his question says, also, how can we get Longbottom to make me a guitar? So, Jacob, Carl put up like a temporary holding page for his website, carllongbottomguitars.com. And yeah, contact him through there. But I've had quite a few questions about this guitar this week. So I'm doing a vlog on it, and it should be out in the next, well, let's say 3 weeks. Basically, Carl sent us a couple of guitars a while ago, a T-style guitar and an S-style guitar, and they're wonderful, and I loved the neck on this. The reality is I've got my favourite tellies like in the world, and I just wasn't going to play it being more of a standard instrument. Yep. And I've been eyeing up some wide range humbuckers for a while. Fender recently brought out the reissue with the Cuneife magnets. Then I was doing some research, and they're sort of hit and miss, those magnets. And I contacted Jamie at the Creamery, and we had a massive chat about wide range humbuckers, and that's his favourite pickup, and he's been studying them for, nearly 40 years or whatever. And so I got Jamie to make me his wide range humbuckers. I asked Mick if he had a Strat tram. He opened up the cupboard and thousands of Strat trams fell out, and he says, "Take your pick, mate."
To be fair, you gave me that in the first place.
I gave you the block, maybe.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Not the whole thing?
I didn't give you the whole thing.
Oh, right.
So I sent these pickups and the Strat tram up to Carl. I said, "Can you put those in this guitar? I'd be really interested to see what it's like." Lo and behold, it's come back, and I have not been able to put it down.
It's a really great guitar.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But this, hear that? It's got built-in reverb. Yeah, I'm really seriously taken with this guitar, and so I've been practicing at home with it all week. We've had it a couple of times on the show, but yeah, I've had custom guitars made for me before, and they've never worked out. This, thankfully, has turned out really great. So doing a vlog, you'll see that whole process. Carl's done some videos of doing all the stuff to it as well.
Wicked. Yeah,
so,
it's a really interesting guitar internally as well. Presumably, Carl is going to go into production, is he?
Yeah.
Will he take custom orders?
Yeah. He's already doing that on a small scale.
Yeah.
But he's interested in, seeing what he can do.
Here's Catherine.
Passing through.
Catherine's birthday tomorrow, everyone.
Hey! So there you go, Jacob. Thank you, buddy.
And he says, "Thanks for all you do. You both are super inspirational. I look forward to VCQ and the Friday videos every week. Keep on being awesome." Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks for
Really,
your generosity.
yeah, mate. Really appreciate it. That's
Mr.
wonderful.
Tick All says, "I took your advice and I've started jamming with a colleague. It's incredible. Have you got any tips for effective jams? A minor is getting pretty worn out. Love."
B flat minor.
Yeah.
Then B, C. So, we used to do this whenever whenever you're warming up, and someone will just play a chord, and people will just, have swaying over that chord. Obviously, you can't mental telepathy over what chord change you want to go to next. But if before you go to the jam, if you just, when you're practicing, if there's a song, it's a really great idea just to call out a couple of songs.
Yeah. And
so everyone learns the song before they get to the jam. So then you can just explore that. And that really helps, if eventually you want to get to a point where you're songwriting, it's really great to have, a bunch of songs up your sleeve, songs that you like, and just so you get to know what everyone is like playing over those tunes. And when Tin Spirits first got together, we were a prog cover band, with two guitars, no keys. And so we'd be copying all the keyboard parts. And so we'd be doing Roundabout, and Dave and I would be switching between the organ parts. And it was just so much fun, I can't even tell you.
did you have an Electro Harmonix Key 9 for that?
No, we didn't. I had a POG, followed by a phaser, followed by a short delay, and with an overdrive. Sorry?
A Teasmade.
The Teasmade.
Yeah.
And that was how I got the organ sound. It was, and it sounded great. Dave used a Boss BF2 for his Leslie thing. Like, you got a certain setting for it. It sounds unreal.
Just super wobbly.
But we just played all these songs that we loved the sound of, and then that led us into doing other stuff with our jams. So there you go.
Yeah, if you find that you're sort of playing the same thing over and over again, and you're looking for somewhere to go, for want of a better way to describe it, you could try a couple things. You could vary tempos, so you could do it faster and slower. You could try doing different beats, so you could try like a 3/4 instead of a straight 4/4.
Yeah, so it counts like this: 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ignore him; it's an old gag. You could try playing some stuff in unison. It's actually quite hard to play the same thing. If you're sort of more towards the beginning of your guitar playing journey, or even if you're a long way through it, it can be a challenge to play exactly the same thing. And it's really, really rewarding when you do. And then if you get that, then try and play that as a harmony.
Yeah, totally.
So pick a melody, play it together, and then one of you plays a harmony. It's all really great stuff.
I didn't have any idea who Status Quo were until my friend's band was supporting them in Sydney. And it was the first time unison guitars, I got it. It was like hearing those two guys just play those things together, and it was unbelievable, so powerful.
Yeah, really good. You'll hear quite a lot of unison guitars in the Beatles as well, here and there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so maybe try those things. And, of course, pick another key. Although, if you're playing... You said this right at the beginning, didn't you? Did you say if you're playing A minor, then play C major? Did you say that?
No, I said A minor, B flat, B, C. Just keep sliding it up one fret.
Yeah, well, if you play all the same stuff you played over A minor but play it C major, it'll sound good too.
Yeah, perfect.
Try that. Simon Keast. Hi, Simon. He says, when you change pickups in an otherwise perfect guitar... Okay, question number one. Why would you do that? Do you find that going back to the originals, some of the mojo is lost, or can you freely change between pickups and back to those reference tones?
You know what? That's a really good question.
It's a great question.
Yeah. I made a decision a little while ago. Well, I didn't want to buy any more guitars for their potential. It had to be perfect out of the box. Now, when I got my 65 Tele, the pickups in it, they were really old Fender pickups, but they weren't original with that guitar. I thought, I know what I'll do. I'm going to, I'll get some really great pickups and I'll swap them out and just see what happens. And the sound that guitar had that I love so much, I was struggling to find it. I went back to those original pickups and suddenly there it was. Now, what's really important is if you're going to try some other pickups, you want to make sure that you are confident soldering things onto the pot, the bottom of the pot. You need a really nice hot iron, and if it's your first time soldering stuff, I'd probably get someone else to do it.
Well, practice.
Yeah. But if you are going to be swapping pickups in and out, one thing that's like, let's say you got Strat pickups, you've got these two wires that come out that basically connect to the output jack. One thing that's really handy is connect a battery clip from the output jack and a battery clip on the pickup on the scratch plate, and then you can just clip them on and try them instead of soldering things on and off all the time.
Connectors.
Yeah. But instead of soldering things on and off all the time, if you use connectors, it'll just make that job so much easier. And it might, so you might have those pickups in. What happens is generally you get these new pickups, you're really excited, that alters the way that you hear them.
Yeah.
So live with them for a week or two and just relax and be really honest with yourself about how they sound.
Yeah.
Record yourself with the original pickups, record yourself with the other ones, and trying to get over that excitement thing to be relaxed enough and just to really be objective about how you feel with those pickups. And, live with them for a little while, then swap the old ones back in. But yeah, I've found that it's a thing of diminishing returns for me. So I'm so delighted with now the guitars that I've got, that if a guitar comes along again that tempts me, it's got to be, I don't even want to change the pickup height. If I pick it up and go, this thing's perfect, it's like with Red, I haven't touched and will never touch the pickups in Red like ever again because it's just done.
Yeah, once you go so far down the road with the guitar and you know it, then changing it because you think it could be slightly better is a really tough call. I changed the pickups in Blue because I didn't like the guitar anymore.
Right.
I played a load more Strats that I just much preferred, so changing the pickups was to see if I could
get back into it,
get it
closer
to another Strat, because with the actual the pieces of wood themselves and the guitar, I'm pretty bonded with it, so I find it hard to break that. In terms of reference tones, something is lost and something is gained all the time. So what you'll find is, I've got a set of pickups in Blue now, some Klopman ST60s, which Dan Drive and his mate Till very kindly sent me. And you know, there's stuff about the bridge pickup and the middle pickup that I prefer over the Ron Ellis pickups, but I don't like the neck pickup as much because it's dark.
Right.
But it's got the aluminium shield in it, which means it's probably losing a bit of top end, and it's a bit softer in the top end, and that's why I don't like the neck pickup so much. So what am I going to do now? Disconnect the tone control off the neck pickup.
Right.
Something is like, and lo and behold, some of my favourite Strat players have done exactly that down the years.
Really?
And that my brain's going, this is, if that's happening, it's got to be vintagier.
Yeah, right.
And then your brain gets involved, and I don't know, then you start listening to pickups. It's like people with hi-fi. They start listening to their hi-fi, they're not listening to music anymore.
Yeah.
And it is a rabbit hole. So
Totally.
yeah.
Just don't let it get in the way of you making music. That's the thing.
And if you are unhappy with the guitar, make sure you can define what it is that you're unhappy with.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Rather than hoping for some sort of possible better,
Yeah.
which you can't quite pin down.
Yep.
You know, if you want it louder, easy. If you want it more trebly, easy. If you want it to work better off the volume knob, relatively easy.
Yeah.
But you need to define all those things. And then, yeah, sure. What I do with Strats is I just swap the whole guts out. So all of it.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you want to put the old stuff back in, you just put it back in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's a bit more expensive, but frankly, it's worth it.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep. Tony Brooks says sexy new tees.
Oh yeah, thanks Tony. The more keen-eyed among you will have noticed that we are in the process of a rebrand for that pedal show. We've updated the logo a little bit, just works better across a few things that we're going to be doing. The old logo was something I knocked up in a hurry before we went live.
And has served us well.
Has served us well
for all these years,
and people love it. And we'll continue with that. It'll be called the classic logo or something, a bit of a vintage look. But we've got some new branding, and we'll roll that out slowly over the next couple months.
Yep.
Anyway, we've got some new tees. These two that we are wearing are available in the store. As you can see, all the knobs at 2 o'clock, exactly where they should be. And this one also has something on the nape of the neck. And and there's more to come. So yeah.
Indeed.
Thanks for noticing. Andy K, no question today. Just love and well wishes. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, mate.
It's my 5th wedding anniversary.
Wood.
Which is wood. On Friday, but I failed to persuade my lovely wife that a custom shop Strat is an appropriate gift, so I'll just keep saving.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's more of a 10th anniversary thing. Happy anniversary, darling. I've got you this amazing custom shop Strat, master built.
All you've got to remember is that you need to have you don't need to, but it would be good to have a reciprocal gift of equal magnitude, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or similar magnitude. Anyway, congrats. It's awesome. 5
Wonderful,
years.
mate. Well done. Congrats.
Nice. David Cummings, just want to pop in and say hello. I'm watching live from Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, lovely.
Hey, David. Nice to hear from you. David Olson. Evening, chaps. Greetings from Durham. A little donation for some headwear for Mick. I shan't be donning. Daniel is donning the hat. The Daniel's thing is the hat.
Yeah.
I shall be hatless for the foreseeable.
The suspect is hatless. Repeat, hatless.
Yeah. When I get my new guitar, I am going to wear a suit, though.
Yeah, man. That's going to be great.
It's going to be a while yet. Hey, from San Francisco Bay, California. OSS Dan.
Os.
What does that mean?
That's a jiu-jitsu thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Ever do a show with the Bondi Del Mar and it's like, why or why not? What is the Del Mar?
From Bondi FX, I believe. Good question.
Del Mar Overdrive. So it's the sick as. Soften and smooth it while raising the gain.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So the sick as was sort of clonny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you add gain and you smooth it off a bit. So I reckon you're getting towards Mythos Olympian territory there.
Yeah, right, okay.
That sounds like that to me.
Interesting.
Which is a killer sounding thing.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. I think that would be a good show, actually. It's sort of...
Step on from the clon.
Yeah, so clon, hard, quick, very unforgiving.
Yeah.
Unless you hit it into a gainy amp, which
Yep.
is more, that's when it really starts to happen, like any booster. But yeah, pretty quick, pretty unforgiving, quite a nose on it. So you take that and you smooth it off. You make it a little more comfortable to play, but you don't get into super squashy, high gain tube screamer territory.
Yeah. Cool.
That does sound cool,
fun.
actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Massive thank you to BV, who's out there.
Oh yeah, thanks BV.
Doing all his magical work that he does.
We should say that at the
behind
beginning,
scenes.
really, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should.
Thank you, BV.
Thank you, mate. Absolute legend. Yes, moderating for us today. Thank you, buddy.
Right. I've just refreshed.
Okay, Airfire says, I want to share my best guitar week yet. Last week, first live gig after COVID, seeing Newton Faulkner. Nice. Then started guitar lessons with Guthrie Govan's brother. Awesome.
Nice.
So excited to start my learning journey. Mate, that's brilliant. Well done.
Good on you.
Yeah, well done, mate.
It's nice to see that Newton Faulkner is still doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Didn't he do Teardrop? He did a version of Teardrop. Was that him?
I don't remember. I remember when he sort of came along, Dreadlocks acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that's he did a really cool version of Teardrop. Yeah, amazing.
Albus Band, Aaron, hi. He says,
buddy.
My dearest Leggins, I hope you're well, and on this Bunday,
You know what I mean.
I ask you to rank your favourites of Humbucker, Filtertron, Strat, Telly, Lipstick, P90, and Mini Humbucker.
Oh boy.
That is a really tough question. By Humbucker, I guess we're going to say PAF.
Sure.
I can knock Lipstick and Mini Humbucker off because I just don't know enough about them.
Yeah.
And have never used them enough to form an opinion.
I have used Mini Humbuckers before, and they will be last on my list.
Really?
Yeah. Not to be confused with the Firebird pickup, which would actually be very high.
Yeah.
But the Mini Humbuckers, I had a Les Paul Custom,
Deluxe.
Les Paul Deluxe, with the Mini Humbuckers in, and I desperately wanted to light them. Just at
How
the
heavy
end.
was the guitar?
Oh, they're planks, those things.
Yeah.
I
know
but
it's
Neil Finn used one, so I'm like, I must have this guitar.
ATB have got one in at the moment at 73, really nice looking guitar. I'm like, hey, that's really interesting. Read down. It's like over £10. No way. No way. Some people like Les Pauls, by the way. So for me, it is Strat, Telly, PAF, Filtertron. Oh, hang on. Strat, Telly, P90, PAF, Filtertron.
I'll go Telly, P90, Strat, Filtertron, Lipstick, Mini HB.
It depends though, doesn't it? I mean, at the moment, I'll take the PAFs in that Les Paul over everything.
Yeah, of course.
Such a great sounding guitar.
Yep. All depends what they're plugged into, is stuck in as well. Yep.
Yeah, thank
Great
you, Aaron.
question, mate.
Charlie Ringer. Tried chorus into Fuzzface Mini, trying for a pseudo Univibe thing, and it was horrid. How do you tell if a mod into a fuzz is going to work?
First thing is if you've got well, it depends on the fuzz. If you've got a traditional style fuzz that has a really low impedance input, then sticking a pedal that's got a low impedance output in front of it, you're going to get into problems. So for that to work, you really need a fuzz that is happy to have a low impedance at its input. Yeah, it's a tricky thing. If you've also don't mix don't mix up your univibes and your choruses as well, because they're different things. Yeah.
You can do, I mean, I used to, before I knew about Univibe, or before I had enough money to buy things like Univibes and stuff, I would use a Boss CE2 with the knobs both on 10.
Right.
And place that after my overdrives, and it just wobbles, and it's sort of, a pseudo wobbly sound, which, yeah, I guess could sound a bit Leslie-y or a bit Univibe, not really Univibe because the shape of the modulation's all wrong, but what you want to do is keep your fuzz separate, put that first, and then you want an overdrive and the CE2, and swap those around.
Yeah.
So fuzz, and then it either hits the overdrive and then the chorus, or the chorus and then the overdrive. And what you'll find is you've got a bit more control over what's happening in that CE2 than putting it before the fuzz. That's not going to work.
We just did a show on this recently where we go into great detail on this Charlie. So go and check that out. We have the new Univibe from
Pedal Porn. Gypsy Vibe.
So go and check that out. We actually go into a lot of detail on that.
Ian Fan says, I got my G3. It is life-changing.
Oh, bless you, mate. Thank you.
How do you set up a JHS double barrel with the G3 to utilise the red remote function on a G3 foot switch?
Just using the remote switch on G3.
Yeah.
Just take a patch lead, plug it out from that into that foot switch, and then you'll be able to program it using the remote switches. Now I'm not sure if the remote switch in the double barrel is latching or momentary, but you can program G3's remote switches to be latching or momentary. So yeah, just a patch lead in there, then use the remote switches. It'll just be the tip to ground. And but if you have any issues, mate, just email support and we'll do everything we can to sort you out. But that's awesome, mate. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased.
Don't know if you can see that. There's 3 jack sockets on the back of the JHS double barrel. One is an input, one is an output, and the third one is a remote switch, so you can turn something on and off.
I love companies that include that extra remote switch. I had Analog Man do a mod to my ARDX20, so it could remote switch between the 2 sides.
Oh, nice.
And it was such a fantastic thing to be able to do. But yeah, they're really, really handy.
But apologies if I'm repeating anything he just said. The remote switches are just programmable along with any other patch thing that you select.
Yeah.
So if you turn on the remote switch to fire, if you like, when you step on the foot switch, that's what will happen.
Yep, exactly that.
Yep.
Gibson AO1 says, hey Dan, where do you buy your hats? We bought 2 hats from...
It's called trendhim.com.
Trendhim.com.
It's a Danish company, I think.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a really handsome guy, lovely white beard in the front. I said,
that's you.
That's him.
Yeah. I would say the delivery was slow, the packaging was awful. And
was it?
Yeah, it was abysmal, like in a cardboard box with no protection. I did write them a pretty stinking review on...
okay.
And they, bless them, they came back and said, "Oh, we'll give you some money off." I'm like, no, I don't want money off. Just,
do better, aim higher.
Just package it right, because it's premium price thing as well.
Yeah, certainly not
It does
cheap.
annoy me, in this day and age of mail order. I don't want stuff that's not packaged very
I've got to
well.
get a little case made for the hats when we travel.
Yeah.
I'd go,
Flight case.
A tiny little flight case will go on my suitcase.
Yeah.
I've crossed the line.
Reminds me of the Lyle Lovett song. You can have my girl, I don't care about that, but don't touch this hat.
Yeah.
Something like that. Vibas Patil.
Hey, Vibas.
He says, hey, gents, great to see you as usual. Any experience with the Dry Bell Unit 67? Advice on how I can integrate it with my King of Tone. Also, I've been checking out Michael Landau videos from the Baked Potato. Absolutely inspirational. Yes, it is.
You got to be careful with those things.
Yeah.
It's a.
You need to ration that kind
of. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It can be somewhat demotivating watching Michael Landau play the guitar. Right. So, what is the Dry Bell Unit 67 then? We've got one, but we haven't plugged it in yet. It's an EQ boost and compressor.
Oh, okay. Right.
So
very good.
Dan uses an EQ boost and compressor from Hampstead.
I do. And it's fantastic. I have that pretty early on in the chain, after the fuzzes, but before the drives. But I never use it in conjunction with anything else. If I have an overdrive pedal on, the overdrives are doing my limiting, so I don't need extra compression with that. So I only really use it for the clean sound, which, the clean sound with that bit of compression on there. And being able to tweak the EQs, the frequencies, is fantastic. So the long story short, having compression before or after your overdrive, vastly different results, but both work really well. We did a show years ago where everyone was saying, the most common place to put your compression is before the overdrive. We showed what happened if you put it after it, and it reacts like if you've got an amp that's turned on and is really limiting. Well, the compressor after your overdrive is doing that job, and it's
that's a really cool thing to try. You know, if you are playing at lower volumes, if you're at home for example, try the Unit 67 after the King of Tone, and just use it to. I would assume, I don't know, that the Unit 67 has got a blend on it, and if it does, you want some of your clean signal in there, because it then won't squash the front of the note quite so much. You'll still hear that. So it won't squash the front of the note, but it will let the tail of the note go into compression, which is where you get that slightly spongier feel and the kind of bit of sustain happening after.
Yep.
And then just use the EQ to shape the KOT however you want to shape it.
Brilliant.
So enjoy. Just received my Monk last week and it's awesome. Thanks for the knowledge, says Morton Peterson. Well, thanks for buying one. Thanks for buying one.
Yeah, well done. Just a quick one. Dennis Flock says, morning fellas, been playing my new to me 2018 Les Paul Traditional, looking for an analog delay that's not complicated or uber expensive, thinking of an MXR carbon copy.
Yes,
perfect. They do a bright version, which I think with the Les Paul is probably a really good shout. But yeah, it is for us. If we had a cheaper, not cheaper, but a budget conscious thing.
I don't even think it's budget. I think it's just a good quality, middle of the road analog delay.
Yeah.
And it's a really good sounding thing.
Really good sounding thing.
Yeah. I mean, budget is like a fifth of that price.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Definitely the MXR carbon copy. I tell you what is really good, which kind of surprised me how much I liked it, was the JHS 3 series delay.
Yes.
That sounds really cool.
It really does.
It's not analog, but it really does a pretty decent, darker sound.
Take off that tone switch on there.
Yeah, really good,
yep.
and very affordable. What else? I don't know. I'm so behind with Boss delays. I don't know what Boss does in that world.
Where's the little Ibanez one?
But the DNM. Oh yeah, the Mini
89.
Mini 89 is good from Ibanez. I don't think they're that cost effective.
No.
But yeah, Ibanez 89 carbon copy is just a great choice if you don't want to take it any further than that. Just be aware that it is pretty dark sounding, so if you go for the bright one, you'll get a bit more. If you want to splash out, get the deluxe, and that's got a tone control on it, I would imagine.
Very nice.
Yeah. Dan, howdy. Nice telly. It's not a telly. Though it has a colour clash with the Monk mug.
Where's the Monk mug?
Blue and green should never be seen.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Coincidentally, I just bought a Fender MIJ Limited Telly Deluxe with Strat Trem. It's getting a pick upgrade to proper Cuneife jobbers. Now, I didn't know, you said the word earlier, I didn't realise it's copper, nickel and iron.
Right. Cuneife.
Yeah. Q for copper, Ni for nickel, I would assume, and Fe is iron, isn't it?
Yes.
Ah, there we are. Didn't know that. Hi guys, finally caught you live. Just got a 1998 Japanese telly. 1988 Japanese telly. Been playing an Ibanez 8-string for the last 10 years. Says Sam Me. He says, any leads on a stereo patch bay for a pedal train classic junior or alternatives?
Really great shout. We do one that's TRS. There are loads. Temple Audio do a really nice patch bay as well.
What's the one that Schmidt Array uses? That's TRS.
That's
isn't it?
TRS. Yeah. It's either TRS or you just use them, individually, as in, left out, left return, right out, right
Two
return.
into it. Yeah.
But most of the patch bays, the simple passive patch bays are TRS. Yeah.
Ian McKee says, yes, Strat and Les Paul into my TPS approved board, now going into two 20-watt JCM 800 heads and cabs that arrived today.
Yes.
I had a cheap
nice
guitar and multi-effects 2 years ago until I found TRS. Well, as long as you're happy, Ian, that's cool.
That's great, mate.
It's just, as you say, you've inspired me to invest in gear and lessons again. Massive boost through COVID and my first gig soon. I'll never forget the positive effect you have on people. Well, thank you, Ian.
Bless you, mate. Thank you.
That's very kind of you. And it's very energizing to hear that you're motivated to play. That's just the best thing.
There's nothing like being inspired to play.
Yeah.
I'm going on this big learning thing myself at the moment, and I had a lot of you will know I had a lesson with Mike Stern a couple of weeks ago. I was talking to Tom Quayle today, asking him going through some harmony with him, and I'm just in this thing at the moment, like I'm discovering things. Like, so a quick example, right? There's this. You'll hear a lot of people play when they go to the 4 chord, and they go back to the 1, right? So you can substitute that 4 chord. That when instead of going to the 4 minor, you go to a minor 7, dominant 7, sharp 11.
Oh, nice.
It's so nice.
See, Beatles used the major to minor 4 quite a lot.
Yeah.
And in general, and I bet they put in all those extra notes with the vocal harmonies or the piano.
Yeah. It's wonderful, and that's sort of going into melodic minor harmony. And I was going through some stuff with Tom Quayle today. I'm like, and so where we're substituting for the 4 chord, substituting with an augmented major 7 augmented. Anyway, these sounds are just resonating with me so much that I'm waking up like 6 o'clock in the morning, so excited to get down and try and get these sounds under my fingers. Now it's going to take me years to get this stuff into where it's happening. But what Mike Stern said to me, and I'll never forget this. I'm asking about this harmony and how he connects the dots. He says, "Well, I know this stuff like breathing." And he said, I don't have to think about it. It's all there. All the harmony, all the melodic minor, harmonic minor harmony from every mode, from every string and every position. He said, I just know it. So I'm free just to play whatever I want. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Because there's no shortcuts with that stuff,
No.
But it's always a journey. But being inspired to be on that road, there is nothing like it.
Yeah, great. If you've got the motivation
exactly
to go, if it's motivating you, yeah,
exactly. That's the whole point.
I think I feel sorry for all those people that sort of think they should know all that stuff and hate it.
Oh God, absolutely.
And just fill themselves up with thinking that they need to know all that stuff.
Yeah,
because the truth is, the more of that stuff you know, the smaller your gigs get, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Fight me. It is.
Yeah.
And I give you the Rolling Stones.
Totally.
As an example. So, don't think that being able to play the guitar well is going to make you popular. It really isn't.
No. I mean, it's a personal thing. But I'm just saying.
You up,
yeah,
then
totally.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Just for me, I'm just enjoying this. Just these sounds. As much as I'm inspired by sounds and stuff, I'm getting inspired by harmony as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just loving it. I'm very aware that I'm not going to be, getting to that stuff. That's not going to happen. But it's just, it's amazing fun. And if you're inspired to work on something, it's just there is nothing like it. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's great. It's good for eliminating psychological time from your brain, Dan.
There we go.
And being in the moment.
Yeah.
With it. What's inspiring me is I was watching on TV the other night. Gary Barlow, of all people, from Take That, did a gig in I don't know where it was, but it looked like a venue that I've been to a few times on Piccadilly, actually. I don't know if it was their old church. And it's called I'm With the Band. And it's Gary Barlow on keys and vocals.
Mm-hmm.
You've got James Bay on guitar and vocals.
Wow.
You've got Tom from McFly on guitar and vocals.
Awesome.
You've got Misha Paris.
Wow.
A couple of, and you forgive me, a couple of the 2 best musicians in the room, bass player and the drummer.
Right.
And forgive me, I can't remember their names, but I'm just watching the drummer mesmerised all night. Like Jamie Cullum.
Okay, cool.
Keys and vocals.
Yeah.
And I'm probably leaving somebody out. A couple guests came in. And it was just the most joyous occasion because they played like one of James' songs, they played one of Tom's songs. And Tom from McFly, in the company of all those unbelievable singers, sings this amazing song.
Yeah. Danny Jones was using some of our gear for a while, and I went down and saw him in Swindon at Soundcheck.
Yeah.
First of all, the nicest guys of any band I've ever met, right? The drummer, the guy that won Strictly Dancing thing.
Strictly Come Cook With Me on Ice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He just comes up to me and goes, he had no idea who I was. He goes, hey man, nice to meet you. You know, what's going on?
Nice boys.
They were just lovely. And Danny Jones was using a 100-watt Bad Cat and tellies.
They're monster players.
But their harmonies...
Yeah.
Oh my word! They sounded like jellyfish live.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, really cool. Well, that's definitely what inspired me. I'm definitely feeling a bit long in the mouth about guitar at the moment and music, but seeing those, I can't remember what even they started playing, and everyone just kicked in. The sound was good. They were obviously all feeling it, and it was obviously a massive release for them all. And you could there was a palpable sense of this kind of release moment because nobody's been doing it for ages. I was like, yeah, man, just being in the room with 3 or 4 people and making a noise there's nothing more inspiring than that for me. Anyway.
Absolutely.
I say with all genuine honesty, I would be so happy just to play an acoustic guitar and strum chords and sing.
Sure.
I would be more than happy doing that for the rest of my life if that was, if it meant playing with humans again.
Sure.
Because I'm borderline done with it, I have to say.
Doug and Paddy, you're on notice.
Yeah.
We'll get you guys in soon. Even if, even if it's just a play, that'd be really great.
I am going to turn Super Chat off. Thank you to everyone who has Super Chatted, because we've got a lot to get through. It's Catherine's birthday tomorrow, so I need to go and get my act together. So I'm going to turn Super Chat off now. Anyone who Super Chatted to this point, we will answer your question. If it ever refreshes the window. There we go. Off we go. Do you understand the implications of this action? Cool. Where were we? Noah Bottimer. Noah, I don't know if you've made a mistake on your super chat there, but that if you haven't, that is unbelievably generous, and thank you. If you have, we'll figure out a way of giving you some back. He says, $dollars for decibels. The high watt was delicious.
104 dB. Yeah.
Could you please compare the dB meter with some generic phone app at 1 to 2 meters from the cab? I see really high numbers, dBA and dBc at home on less wattage, and wonder about comparative levels at your seats. Love the new logo. Yes, that's a really good shout, actually, Noah.
Yeah.
We don't understand what it's configured to, anything. We just plug it in as a kind of constant. So we're not sure if the numbers actually mean very much, but I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. It would be interesting to know.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Thank you. There's loads of people jumping on buying T-shirts. Thank you, everyone. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Amazeballs. Cheers. Thank you. Because the other thing with dB loud, if you turn the bass up, it reads much higher.
Yeah.
So the sound pressure level is one thing, and then the EQ balance therein is another. And to that end, we don't know really what it's measuring.
Yep.
It's a constant of some kind. Ralph Lemon. Hey guys, hope you're having a nice day. What's your advice to someone in their mid-20s looking to start a band in a mid-sized city? What would it take to be successful? It's a great question.
Yeah, great question. So you need to define what success means to you.
Yeah. To
start with. A very dear friend of mine who's been a bit of a mentor posed that question to me 10 or so years ago, and it was wow. It was just one of those moments of, yeah, okay, because that has different connotations for everyone. So define what success looks like for you.
Yeah, there's been some really good TV just recently here in the UK anyway, of pop stars, various pop stars, One would be Paloma Faith.
Yeah.
One would be, I think, who was it? Was it one of the girls in, what's that kids' girl band that have been around for ages that won the X Factor or whatever it was? Really famous. Like the most famous kids' girl band.
Little Mix?
Yeah, them.
Right.
Really good. Taylor Swift's done some great stuff. And what you see, you know, thanks to the internet, thanks to social media, thanks to the changes in the music industry, what you get to see is inside a really broken and hurtful environment, which is what pop music is.
Have you seen the...
I mean, it's just relentlessly... It's a moral vacuum for a start.
Who did Hit Me Baby One More Time?
Britney.
Have you seen the Britney documentary?
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And completely mad.
Yeah.
But, and I think, you know, on the one hand, you can say that these pop stars go into that willingly, right? So there comes a point in a pop star's career where you realise what it is that you're doing. You know, it's part of it is being creative and making music, but the bigger part of it is, you know, working the machine or being worked by the machine, whichever way you want to look at it. So if you're talking about success, selling lots of records, being on TV and all of that, I just don't know how possible that is anymore. Without being in that mega... Because what the internet's done is it's made some winners who sell 8 trillion records, and then it's made everyone else who doesn't. Now, we could probably look at some exceptions to that rule. I think Bonamassa is a fantastic exception to that rule.
Wonderful example.
Joe B, when I first met him, was this overnight sensation who'd been working for at least 10 years.
Yeah. Working really hard.
Really hard.
Yep.
Year after year. And I remember talking to his manager, Roy Wiseman, who said, every year we come back, we play a bigger venue.
Yeah.
Every year we come back, we play a bigger venue. And they own everything.
Yeah.
They just worked it. I don't know anyone who works harder than Joe.
Yeah.
And I think he got it from B.B. King, if I'm honest.
Right.
Because he was the same.
Right.
You know, even in his blooming 70s, he was doing over 300 dates a year, I think.
Far out. I saw him at Wembley.
Yeah, when Slash played and all that.
No, Gary Moore supported him.
Oh, okay. So before.
Yeah. Far out.
So what I'm saying is, it definitely is possible now, thanks to the internet, social media, self-publishing, and all of that, to get some success. But it takes a while, and you've just got to be so unbelievably committed to it.
Totally.
Over years and years and years and years.
Yep. Totally.
So if you're up for that, you can do it. If you're talking about getting a bar band together and going to play some bars and some weddings and all of that, that's a different thing. You can do that as well.
Yeah, totally. And that's awesome fun.
Yeah.
Awesome fun.
Yeah. But a band is hard work. You know, lots of mine and Dan's friends have more success as session players and sideman and side person, playing with different bands than they do running their own band, because it is a slog, isn't it?
It is. It totally is.
It's a business. It's a business like any other. And what you find is, if you're doing the job right, unless you've got someone to take care of all that for you, you'll spend more time folding T-shirts, packing merch, sending out albums, arguing with tour managers, arguing with people who haven't paid you, than you ever will playing the guitar.
One of the most amazing things I've seen was I saw Joey in London doing a solo thing, right? Joey is probably one of the top 5 most talented people I've ever met in my life. Just incredible. And there he is on stage, changing lives, right? Just flowing, and it was just unbelievable. And just being this incredible artist, having this amazing moment. The gig stops, the artist hat comes off, his merch accounting hat goes on, he's at the back table counting merch. At the end of the gig, everything's counted for, puts it in his book, everything's packed up, he's doing it all himself. I've never known such a complete human, because he can switch between one and the other. And there's an element to that. If you want to make it a business, you need to be able to differentiate between okay, this is the art side and stuff,
Yeah.
but this is the product. And whether that product is a wedding band or a jazz band or a session guy, you know, really simple things. You've got to be able to get along with people. Never underestimate how important that is. If you want to be a touring guy, never underestimate how important it is that you get along with people and treat them with respect. Because it's, again, like any business, all about relationships.
Yeah.
I think we missed one.
Beer and coffee says a super chat's done. Missed one, what, Dan?
Super chat just before the first one.
Oh yeah, Raphael Jungers.
That's him.
Anyway, Ralph, after all that, please don't be put off. Back to the top. Depends on what success looks like for you, and why you want to do it. If you want to be creative and just make music, just don't expect to make any money. And love it. Do it for the love of it.
Yeah. If, however, you can turn what you love into a business, it's the most wonderful thing in the world. And I would encourage you to. I think everyone should, at some point in their life, run their own business.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah. I mean, we are both now unemployable. That's
Completely.
That's the basic truth of that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting running your own business.
Indeed.
Raphael Jungers says, Dan, what are the available options to add extra loops to G3 Atom? Can the remote Loopy 2 be used, or maybe a MIDI switcher like Morningstar ML5? Thank you both for great shows.
Oh, you're very welcome, mate. Both, yeah, absolutely. Both good options. You can run the Morningstar or run a remote Loopy 2 from the remote switches, or the Morningstar from the MIDI. Just put it before the input, or put it in a loop of G2 or G3?
G3 Atom.
Yeah, G3 Atom. So, you know, if you want a lot more loops, try maybe put all your overdrives in the Morningstar and put that in the first loop. That will work great. If you just want a couple of extra loops, the remote Loopy 2 triggered from the remote switches is a great option. Yeah, all good.
Matt Lloyd. Hi, Matt. Nice
buddy.
to hear from you. He says, I was finally able to get back to recording and put up some new music. Do you have a place we can hear songs you have recorded?
Sure. I guess, you know, we do have a Facebook page. For, you know, and everyone's free to go and post their songs on the Facebook page.
No, I think he's saying that you have recorded.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can go to, on iTunes, there's Tin Spirits. Actually, you know what? It's so weird, because on the way here in the car, I put on, we had an album called Scorch, which is the last album that we recorded. And I put that on the way home in the car because I hadn't heard it in so long. And it was like, yeah, man, it was really great to listen to those moments again. And I probably won't listen to that now again for years. But just listening to the harmonies and that sort of stuff is like, yeah, I can't wait to start getting back into that, you know, that thing again.
I always have this vision of Don Henley driving up and down Sunset Boulevard, listening to Hotel California, singing it out the window. He's like driving along, singing Hotel California, and people are looking at him going, "Is that Don Henley singing?" Yeah, just on the subject of listening to your own music.
Yeah, right.
It's quite painful, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've got to the point now with, because the band break up and all that sort of stuff. I've got to the point now I can sort of get past that stuff and just enjoy it for what it was, and the wonderful experiences that we had and playing with Dave and all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just trying to, because you can sit there and be ultra critical.
Yeah, well, it's no good, is it?
It really isn't.
That's
It really
why.
isn't.
That's why you can't hear anything of mine, because I can't get past it not being good enough. I just can't, and I don't know what that is. Despite all the psychological work I've done and I'm doing, I still can't get over that hurdle.
You did a song on a vlog recently, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was great.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's it. You can hear Dan's Tin Spirit stuff, and the good news is there's going to be more Tin Spirit stuff.
Well, it's a different band name. It won't be Tin Spirits, but it'll be me, Doug, and Mark,
Yeah.
and Paul Stacey.
Nice.
Oh man! Even
Excellent.
just hearing that come out of my mouth is like, what?
So that's cool. But if, Matt, you're saying what Dan assumed you were saying, which is, do we have a place where you can post stuff, where TPS audience can post stuff? We don't There is a TPS, as he said, fans Facebook group.
Yeah, there is.
So that might be a good place to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And congrats for getting
congrats,
on with it.
mate. It's awesome.
Good on you. Jason Carapazzi says, what about a genre challenge? You each have to pick 4 pedals, 1 amp, 1 guitar for blues, metal, country and classic rock. Everything must be at TPS now. That's a great idea.
Brilliant.
Brilliant idea.
That's fantastic, mate. Well done.
Nice. We'll do that, Jason. Horological says, I use an El Capistan and a Night Sky for delay and reverb.
Nice.
Could a Source Audio Collider do the same job? I don't feel I use either pedal to their potential.
So that's a really fantastic question. If you're the Night Sky is capable of so much, but if you're using it as a basic reverb and you're not sort of digging into its potential, then absolutely. El Capistan, awesome delay. But again, if you're not specifically after those tape tones, I mean the Collider's got great tape emulation on it.
Tape tones in the Collider are fantastic.
Yeah.
It is our favourite dual delay and reverb.
Yeah. If you just need a delay and a reverb pedal, I'll go for that 100% of the time. Wonderful thing.
Brian Garcia says, good to have you both back this week. I need some cabinet advice for a Seriatone JM50, which is cross between the John Mayer signature amp and a Dumble steel string Singer.
Okay.
What cab material and construction do you recommend for this style of amp, leaning towards a 1x12? Do some research on Dumble cabs. There's not a lot of info out there, but from what I understand about Dumble cabs is they were pretty solid things. So it wasn't like a Fender Pine cabinet, for example, is something that has a very specific resonance with low power speakers that really shakes and creates its own sound. I think the Dumble cabs were a little bit more inert compared to that.
Oh, yeah, right.
I've got 2 such cabinets. I've got a Zilla 112 with the oval cutout, which I had custom made, which is just a, marine ply, fairly solid construction. I don't know about the other thing to check out is whether the speaker is front or rear mounted in the baffle. It makes quite a difference to the sound, and I don't know which way around that was in the Dumble. What I will say is that my 2-Rock 112, which is their standard 112 cab, and the Zilla 112 that I have are both utterly fantastic sounding cabs for that kind of thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Headroom, huge cleans, and the choice of speaker is obviously important. I would thoroughly recommend the WGS12L, which is what I use for those sorts of sounds. So yeah, check. Where are you? You're in the US, Brian. Have a look at the 2-Rock cab. I think they're slightly more sensibly priced in the US than they are here. And
the 2-Rock 1x12 it's like one of the best cabs I've ever heard.
It's an astonishing thing. Just a solid little 112 with the oval back cutout. But yeah, do some research. I'm sure you'll find a decent cabinet manufacturer who will run something like that up for you. Yeah, don't skimp on the cabs. Everyone spends all this money on an amazing head and they're like, wow, look at my hand wired, amazing, and then they buy some cheapo cab and it's like, no, so much of the sound of that amp is going to come from the cab.
Yeah.
So spend the money, pony up.
We did have Highwatt get in touch with us, by the way, if anyone was wondering about the cab that was on this week's show, and they've said, why don't we bring down a couple of Fane crescendo loaded, bring a couple of 4x12s down and see if we can't
blow the walls
off. So, I mean, that would be fun.
We're doing that. Let's do it. Joshua Williams says, hi, Lismore, New South Wales.
Hey.
I've watched for a year now and I've acquired pedals and a second Vibra King. One Vibra King's awesome. 2 is... You deserve some special seat for that, I think. To run wet dry with stereo effects. The neighbours are good sports.
Awesome.
Okay, here's the question of the week then. Universal Audio Golden Reverberator or CXM 1978?
Oh, boy. Okay.
I haven't listened to them side by side yet.
Yeah. If what you're after is sonically, they're both fantastic. For me, all of the sounds in the CXM, including the soundtracky type things, you know, the more soundscapey things in the CXM, I just connect with instantly. The room sounds like awesome. However, the reverberator, like Universal Audio, knows how to do reverbs.
Oh yeah.
They're so incredible. And if you are happy, if you don't, if you don't need a bunch of presets, and you're happy just to switch through and bring up the sounds, then that's certainly one for the UA. But for me, it's the ability to have all those different presets. I can't get past the CXM, but it's a functionality thing for me. I think the sounds in the Universal Audio, the reverb, are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, stunning. Which may make it an easy choice because the price difference is somewhat significant.
Yeah, I think so. You
won't be sorry with the UA.
Absolutely. If all you're after is two sounds to switch between, UA.
Yeah. Sean Gerolimatos says, "Hi guys, I've set up my 1998 Les Paul double cutaway for slide with heavy strings and open C tuning.
Very
Thanks,
nice.
Joey. Honk. Any recommendations for a non-traditional slide tone?"
Oh,
you'd have to define what traditional slide tone is.
Yeah.
I guess, do we say that traditional slide tone is lots of... Because if you think about Raikuda's slide tone, take the Paris, Texas soundtrack, for example.
Yeah.
Atmospheric, little bit of overdrive, but not loads. Loads and loads of reverb.
yeah.
And then take Joey, loads of fuzz.
Yeah. Then I've listened to Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all quite different, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the slide players down the years are almost as varied as the non-slide players down the years. Try just different... well, here's a few things to try then. Go through the overdrive gamut. So start clean and add a load of reverb and do your spacey, echoey, ambient thing. Put on some medium gain.
Yep.
Get up some some 60s electric blues tones.
Mm-hmm.
Add on some fuzz. Get into sort of Joey territory. Smooth overdrive. Think about people like David Lindley, if you haven't heard him before.
Yep. Grab a couple of compressors.
Yeah.
Slam them into each other. Loud George.
Loud George. And then whatever, non-traditional. How about a ring modulator?
Or Derek Trucks, just get a super reverb and turn it all the way up.
Yeah. What else would be good? Pitch shifting with slide.
Yeah,
that would be non-traditional.
Whammy with slide.
Yeah. It's like, whoa. You've got less people in the audience than Dan at this point.
Whammy on this.
Woo.
Hey,
Yeah. Good luck, Sean. That should be good fun. And Les Paul DC. Don't see loads of those around.
Yeah.
Nice. Actually, I think Rick Beato's got a signature one, hasn't he?
Not sure.
I think so.
Life of Bluesman says, "Hi, gentlemen. Is there still a place in the world in 2021 for a Fender 63 reverb unit in a world full of great digital reverbs? Is the Fender 63 reverb still relevant?" I'm going to say absolutely, 100%, no question.
Yeah,
yes.
There is no digital reverb spring simulation that sounds like a proper spring reverb.
No.
Not a single one.
No.
So, yes, and if you've got one you want to sell it to us for a low price, we will happily buy it from you.
Indeed. Very good.
Yeah, not only that, of course, it's not just the sound of the reverb, it's got some tube stages in there, so it's a sound all its own. But they are crazy money now.
Yeah, they are.
Well, because it's an amp, right?
Yep.
Is what it is.
And because people have been trying for ages to get something that sounds like it,
Yeah.
and they just don't.
Henry Herrera. Where would you put a buffer like the Mesa high wire if you have a Boss noise suppressor at the beginning of your signal chain that returns after the effects loop? I'm running a wet dry rig. Okay, so he's going out of his effects loop in the wet amp, hitting a noise suppressor after that. Where does the buffer go?
Well, okay. The send. if the buffer is on your board, I would put the send on the amplifier, straight out of the effects send into the buffer, down so that you're buffering the signal from the effects loop.
Yes. So are you buffering the send or are you buffering the return?
I'm buffering the send.
Because I know on my 2-Rock, my Studio Pro 35, that was buffered on the return.
Yeah, but it's not buffered on the send, and that's the thing. That's where the preamp is breaking.
Yeah.
And you've got, so for example, if you've got the send going down to a couple of true bypass effects and then going back, let's say you've got 20 foot of cable there and 20 foot of cable back. You've got those effects off. That send is driving 40 feet of cable until you turn an effects pedal on. Then it's only driving 20 feet of cable because it's buffered. So yeah, I've actually been doing some experiments with some stuff to do with that because it's such an interesting thing. But that's where I would do it.
There you go.
There you go.
Trevor Hart. Gentlemen, I got a new fuzz face last week, but I can't get it to work. No obvious broken connections and a new battery. Any suggestions? Send it back.
Yeah, totally. Don't spend too much time with it. If it doesn't work, just send it back.
Yeah. Yep. And if you've bought it used and you can't send it back, you need to get a tech to have a look at it. I'm going to say it's something to do with the power not connecting properly.
Yeah.
Although, could be something on the input jack as well, or the output jack, or indeed anywhere else in the circuit. Yeah, could literally be anything.
Indeed.
Sorry to hear that. That's
yeah, always disappointing.
Disappointing. I just got a grumpy bot buffer, says Brad Schultz. Curious why it hasn't made an appearance on the show. Also, is the output really 500k? Seems high for a buffer. Cheers from Orlando.
500k. It's 500 ohms. Yeah. 500 ohms.
And would 500 ohms be high for a buffer?
500 ohms is nice and low.
Yeah.
For a buffer. 500k would be ridiculously high.
There we are.
Yeah. Why hasn't it made an appearance? Because I designed that thing, and it's a really simple op-amp buffer that's nice. I'm actually in the middle of sort of doing a redesign at the moment. Not redesign of the grumpy bot buffer, but some other parts around that circuit. And I'm sort of disappearing down that rabbit hole. I think we're going to do a show, like a definitive show on buffers.
I'm gonna go shopping that day.
Okay. I'm going to get you to play.
I don't like them anywhere.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll play then.
You play.
Don't like it. Don't like it.
Turn off.
Don't like it. Don't like it.
But yeah. There we go. It hasn't been on the show because Mick doesn't like them. There we go. Done.
No, it's not. I think the reason may be that thanks to G2 and G3, the signal path is so clean on the boards we end up using.
We just don't need them.
You hardly ever need it.
Yeah.
Because, what have we got? Really nice old-fashioned guitars, awesome cables, low-cap cables, unbelievably clean signal path.
Yeah.
Really nice amps. I've never had the need for one.
Yeah.
The only time where one becomes relevant is when you've got some particularly finicky fuzz that sort of needs something after it. But even then, I wouldn't have a buffer. I would just turn an overdrive pedal on or a boost.
Yeah.
So, but it is. I would say, it is probably outside of what pedal should I buy. It is the number one point of confusion, isn't it?
It
on
is.
pedal boards.
And there's been some interesting information floating out there. There's a lot of things that go into buffers apart from just output impedance. So yeah, it'd be worth exploring.
Talon Big says, would you ever consider making an even smaller G3, Dan, like a G3 Nano? Atom is amazing, but a 6-foot switch one would be so awesome.
Not really. Getting all the functionality in from the G3 into the Atom, getting it shrunk down that much. Yeah. The thing is, we would lose connections on the back to get it shrunk down even more. I'm happy to take 2-foot switches off, but it'd be the same size. Yeah. But never say never. It might be something different. Yeah, interesting.
It'll all be on your phone soon anyway, don't worry. DCK Strat 90 says, tell me it's okay. I'm currently preferring my $40 Blues Breaker 2 over my $240 Ryra clone for the music I'm playing in country and bluegrass band.
If it sounds good, it is good. Just please don't worry about that stuff. You know, look.
If you like it, you like it.
Absolutely. David Gilmour didn't use his amazing Soviet era Big Muff because it was rare and sought after. It became rare and sought after because he used it. When he bought it, it was cheap as you like. You know, he just connected with that sound. It's, you know, a lot of the stuff that we connect with, yes, it tends to be, it can be expensive, but that is not the reason. You know, if you connect with something, and if you've got a shovel with 2 strings on it, and you connect with that, job done.
Yeah, and the price isn't the relevant bit here. The fact is, a Blues Breaker 2 is a completely different
circuit, yeah,
pedal than,
totally.
than a clone. You know,
Yep.
a clone is a clone type circuit is a completely different thing. I mean, it's a whole different sound.
Yep.
So yeah, you just prefer the Blues Breaker sound. Why not?
Yeah,
Cool.
totally. Brilliant.
Cool. Uwe Landsberg says, hey M&D, great show. What to do with a guitar you don't play, but you can't sell or mod? It has vintage, personal or emotional connections. All the best from Germany.
That is a great question. So you can't sell it and you can't play it. If
Or you don't want to play it.
You don't want to play it, but if it looks great,
Hang it on the wall.
hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've got a couple of wall hangers for my guitars. I play all of them, but gee, they look nice. You know, I've got my little office and they're there on the wall. Every now and then I'm like, hello. But yeah, hang it on a wall. One thing about guitars, which is another reason we're so drawn to them, is they just look so cool.
Yeah. Even if it is a PV Vandenberg.
Even that.
Yeah, saw one for sale on Reverb the other day.
Right.
In the case with that weird cutout.
Wow.
Remember that guitar?
Yeah,
Pink?
I do.
Awesome. Would look great on any wall.
Indeed.
Yeah, stick it on the wall, or I don't know, if there's someone in your life who has the same personal connection, maybe you pass it to them.
Yeah, right. That's a really good point. Yeah.
On the condition that they don't sell it, mod it,
Yep.
or otherwise. Yeah. William Turner. I just bought a 1975 Jazzmaster, and I'm looking for a nice amp, new or vintage, with excellent spring reverb. Any suggestions?
Boy, oh boy.
Deluxe reverb.
Where to start? Yeah, deluxe reverb. If you are new to the world of spring reverb and you want to get, it's a wonderful, wonderful place to start.
Tone King Imperial Mark II.
Tone King, wow, killer.
2 Rock Studio Classic. But you can't really go wrong with a deluxe reverb reissue or a Princeton reverb reissue.
Yeah,
that'll do you.
yeah. If you want to go something a bit more tweedy, the Lazy J20 with the reverb module in it is incredible. But yeah, there's a lot of good options out there. Going to get Jesse on the show at some point. We're going to come do a big tweed show.
Nice.
He's got some absolute corkers. And the tweed era and all that circuitry stuff is really, really interesting.
Digger 68. Hey guys, thanks to your advice, I picked up a 90s Vox AC30 for a dry wet rig and a Mesa Fillmore 50 because of the killer tone. I downsized my mini board to 4 pedals thanks to the 2 channels and the gain on the Fillmore, and I got new pickups for a Sir and Les Paul, or a Sir plus Les Paul. Cheers. That all sounds really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. Fillmore.
Well done, mate.
Nice. So the Fillmore's sort of blackfacey and the AC30. That 90s Vox AC30 is interesting. If probably one of the Marshall made ones, is it? Maybe non-master volume.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty serious. Take some booting. They do.
Pete's on.
Is he?
Pete on, Ray.
Is he?
Yeah.
What's he banging on about?
He's, the beards are legendary. Miss you.
We miss you too, mate.
Miss you too, bud. Oh, I can't wait to see you. I watched the show we did when we built your board, and that intro with the 3 of us in bed.
Yeah.
I watched it last week, and I must have cried with laughter for about 10 minutes. Just, I miss you, buddy. Can't wait to see you. Not particularly for that reason, but really can't wait to see you.
Chris Waters, hi chaps. I'm on a new semi-hollow endeavour. He says, a pre-loved ES335 or an Eastman with Lola dog ears. I love a Bigsby. Does it affect resonance? Absolute leg ends, much love.
So, yes, anything with mass that you put on the guitar is going to affect resonance in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, which is not to say better or worse. It's just different than it not being there. One of the reasons I haven't put a Bigsby on the Casino is because that great big massive string on the trapeze tailpiece is a fairly significant factor in why it sounds like it sounds, which is not to say it would be worse with a Bigsby. It would just be different.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at there? It depends on the 335. I mean, there's been a lot of 335s down the years. I've played some true shockers. And I've played some absolute exquisite guitars. So I guess, assuming that it's an okay guitar, you've played it and you quite like it, what are you choosing next? You're choosing P90s or humbuckers.
Yep.
That should be a fairly simple decision for you.
Yep.
Yeah, those Eastmans are really nice guitars, actually. The 335 is likely to be nitrocellulose. The Eastman may not be, or it might be. They do some nitro guitars.
Do they?
I think so. I think so. The higher end ones. Yeah, tough on that, Chris. You've got to play them, really. And you've got to see which guitar you like.
Because you can have two guitars next to each other,
Yeah.
one serial number apart.
Yeah. Or if you've always hated green guitars and one of them is green, then that should make the choice pretty simple too.
Yeah.
Ergo, what it looks like really does matter.
Yeah. I had this conversation with Carl Longbottom last week, talking about wood. So Carl's been like a carpenter joiner for like 30 years. I think one of the reasons that, I mean, he just knows wood really well. And he said the wood is the mystery. You can have from the same tree and get that, and one's going to sound really good and the other might not have that.
Are you
thing.
saying wood makes a difference in electric guitars, Dan?
Well, I believe it's a thing.
You're clearly off your rocker, mate. You've obviously got no interest in science whatsoever.
No, it's true. Right.
Prove it. Prove that statement to me. Prove it now. Prove it. Come on, prove it. You're lying. Why are you involved in this conspiracy? That's how the wood debate usually goes online. You're being paid by Fender and Gibson to say that wood makes a difference in guitars. Prove it to me. Prove it now. Prove it.
It's all in the pickups.
Good luck, Chris.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Shawnee is Cubs fan 1.
Hey.
He says, hi guys, have you tried the Victory RK50 Richie Kotzen signature amp? I got one a month ago and I'm loving it. It's great with my Les Paul and telly.
Weren't you in with the development of that?
I made the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
When they released it. It is a fantastic amp.
Yeah.
We had Martin Kidd and Rabia sat there in Brighton Electric Studios, and they were just riffing away and jamming away. And it literally, I mean, it's a single channel amp as from memory with a boost mode, and it just goes from lovely clean up, like that sort of pushed Marshall sort of sound,
Yeah, right.
all the way through to this rip-roaring, real open sounding gain. It's a brilliant amp, absolutely brilliant amp. Such good fun to play. So, yes, congrats on that. I hope you enjoy it. George Radcliffe says, over the last year, Spotify has been a great tool for me to explore the evolution of blues and rock guitar.
Oh, cool.
Just wondering, have either of you made any public playlists of music that you enjoy?
No, I've never done a public playlist.
No.
I did like the Flight of the Conchords playlist they did on Apple a while ago.
Oh, really?
It was just wonderful. I love those guys.
Yeah, it would be good to do. I think mine would be full of Maren Morris, Jason Isbell, Taylor Swift, Aoife O'Donovan and Sarah Jarosz at the moment.
Right. Mine would just be confusing.
Well, it'd be Pat Martino,
Pat
wouldn't it?
Martino.
Crowded House.
Crowded
Pat
House,
Martino,
Pat Martino.
Yeah, I think you'd probably be surprised at my list, George. I don't really listen to much guitar music anymore. It's weird. Jason Carapazzi. Hello, Jason. He says, again, it's the same Dan. Yeah, but he's got a new hat. I want it, I want it, I want it. Who's your favourite Simpsons character and why?
Oh, man. Isn't it amazing we've got these stories that actually...
Jason, Dan, John Ackenbach
Yes.
asked us that exact question preceding him drawing the character for us.
He drew Homer and Mr. Burns.
And Mr. Burns, yeah. It was bonkers.
Okay, the most bonkers thing about that experience, though, and I had no idea that this happened, and Mick and I were like, oh my God. When the artists are drawing the character, they become the character and they start speaking and moving like the character as they're drawing.
It was mad. He
It
was
was
there
just unbelievable.
with his pencil. So John Ackenbach, right, leading artist on the Simpsons, invites us over to Burbank on a Sunday afternoon and says, "Come and have a tour of the Simpsons studios." And we're like, "Nah, you're all right, mate." We're like, "Yeah, no way." And he took us around, he showed us, and he's like, and he gets his pencil out and he's like, Smithers. As he's drawing him, it's utterly unbelievable. And we've got over in the vlog studio and common room, we've got some framed stuff that John drew for us that day.
Yeah.
It's beyond. Anyway, Mr. Burns is my favourite Simpsons character.
Yeah, and just Homer is the GOAT.
He is.
He totally
absolutely is.
He is.
Thanks, Jason. Sam Anderson. I finally got my Supro Delta King 8 and can now play a 2-amp stereo rig below 85 dB.
Oh,
Because
wow, nice.
home use, and it's an immense sound, and it's entirely your fault.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to do it, Sam.
Totally.
It really is. Congratulations.
Yeah, we're gonna do ultimate home rigs, and the stereo wet dry thing at home is just epic.
Brad Schultz says, sorry to double dip. Have we had you already, Brad? This has been bothering me for ages. What's the modulation on Don't Dream It's Over?
Oh, it's a chorus of some description. I mean, it might be a Dimension C.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely some sort of...
I got a text from Pete today saying, what's the modulation on John Mayer's new song?
Last Train?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it ought to be Dimension C.
Yeah, right.
Dimension D.
Yes.
Because he's on this, if you don't know, John Mayer's on this massive 80s kick at the moment. It's bizarre. And it's bizarrely cool, but bizarre.
Yeah.
It really ought to be Dimension D.
Yeah.
So it could be that, Brad, that it's a straight chorus. It's quite a hi-fi type chorus. Like, it's not a C2 or anything like that.
No.
So it may well be Dimension D, given that, what year was Don't Dream It's Over? Mid-80s?
No, 80, I want to say 88 or 89.
Okay. Anyway, whatever year it was.
I'm
86.
86. Oh boy. Swing and a miss.
Yeah. Dimension D was all over everything in the mid-80s. So we're going to say that it may be that, but we don't know.
I'm sure Tim Pierce will know because he played on that album.
Mm.
Tim? Someone poke Tim.
Hit Tim
ask
and
him.
ask him.
Yeah.
He'll know. Anyway, Brad, the Boss make a Dimension C in the Wazza range, which is really good.
Yeah.
Much easier to use than
Apparently has the
rack
Dimension
unit.
D switch in it.
It does.
Yeah.
And failing that, TC do a super cheapo one as well, which sounds all right.
Yeah.
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 Chris Turner, hello therapy group. My acoustic went back to PRS to fix the piezo, and it came back fixed and failed again within a week. That's the world tour out then. Oh, what a shame. Wonder why that is. Did they tell you what they fixed in it? Because if you know, maybe you could fix it yourself. That seems... Prog Doggy, cheers from Canada. Quick question for Dan. I want to order a quartermaster. If I'm in Canada, should I order from the US site or the UK site? I love the show. VCQ makes Mondays worth waking up for.
Bless you, mate. Thank you. I think it's actually cheaper for you to order from the UK site. We used to send them through the US, but there was what happened was they used to just go. We didn't have any issues sending from America to Canada. Then there was something changed and being massive issues. So what ended up happening for us is we would import it to America, then have to import it from there to Canada. And because we were paying the taxes on it, we get stung. So it's actually cheaper for you. I think we did all of our Canadian sales now go through the UK store, and we send it just direct from here.
There you go.
There you go.
Dodd Carcosa Fuzz, brand new D&M and Monk, says Chris Warburton.
Nice.
Digitech Obscura, which is a really underrated delay. Digitech Polara Reverb.
Polara Reverb, nice.
So where should I put the Monk? I'm possibly adding a Digitech Nautilla and or Ventura Vibe as well.
Before the reverb, after the delay.
There you go. Yep. I would agree.
Yeah.
So penultimate.
Yep.
And Chris, if that was you that bought a D&M and Monk last week in the same order, God bless you, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
That's a big deal to us.
Yeah. Thank you.
And even if it wasn't, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a big deal when people buy pedals, so thank you, and we hope you love it. But yeah, put it before the reverb, almost last.
Perfect.
The thought process on that is that sort of tremolo would have been in the amp.
Yeah.
And it might be actually that you would have it even after the reverb.
Yeah.
Given that it may well have been like that in the amp, but certainly either before or after the reverb towards the end of the chain, given that that's where it would have been in the amp. That's why we say that. Marco Barozzi. Hello, Marco. He says, hey, lads, have you seen John Mayer's new video with the Soldano? If that's what he actually used on the track, it sounds amazeballs.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard John Mayer's new song, call up Eric Clapton's Journeyman record. He's obviously on... I mean, John's been releasing these singles through the last year, which definitely have a more sort of poppy 80s vibe to them. And it's really cool. And the latest track is so unbelievably Journeyman era Clapton.
Right.
The guitar sound on it. And it's interesting that you mentioned the Soldano, because Clapton was using Soldanos at that point.
No way.
He was using the SLO. He certainly was when I saw him in the late 80s.
Wow.
And, you know, it's Pretending is the song I've got in my mind. If you call up John Mayer's new single and Pretending by Eric Clapton and listen to the two guitar sounds, I think you'll hear some similarities. Mayer's always been a massive Clapton fan. I mean, I think he even thanks him on the in the sleeve notes to the big record.
Wow.
Continuum. So yeah, he's on it. So it could well be that sound. Equally, you know, it's very mid-rich. Could equally be Tube Screamery into his Dumble. Could be that. I don't know. Great show, gents. Mick, where was the clon? I guess that refers to the High Watt show, does it?
Guess so.
The clon is in a cage. It lives in a cage now when we don't use it. Which actually you can see on the TPS store. If you go on the TPS store, look at the new T-shirts, you'll see the clon in the cage. That's where the clon lives. Yeah, there was a few pedals we probably should have tried with the High Watt, and definitely Colour Boost being one of them. Power Booster. I think when we get the proper cab, or a proper better cab, we'll put some more appropriate pedals up.
Sure. That'll be fun.
Treble Booster and some other stuff.
That'll be fun.
Nice to hear from you, Soren. Hope you're well.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Carl's on. He says, evening, gents. This is Carl Longbottom who made this guitar. And he said, I'm absolutely made up you're enjoying the guitar.
Bless you, mate.
Good on you, Carl.
Thank you.
Henry Herrera. Oh, we've had this one. Henry, we already asked you, so you may well have posted this question again. If you have, apologies. This was about the noise suppressor and the Boss.
Oh, yeah, right.
And the Mesa high wire. In case you missed it, Henry, the answer was after the send of the effects loop.
Yep.
Richard Avila, he says, thoughts on single pickup guitar episode. Dan's SG Junior has me inspired, less is more.
Between the SG Junior and the Collings, they're probably the two best sounding guitars we have.
They're certainly vying for that position.
Yep.
It was very nice. I had it out for the high watt, and I'm like, every time I pick it, I'm like, why don't I play the guitar more?
Yeah, no, they're very, very special
It's
instruments.
a good one. It would be nice if we could find a guitar that only has a middle or a neck pickup. I think that would make a really interesting episode.
Well, let's grab. Okay,
Music
I'm going
Master or
to grab a
something.
Warmoth body, and get 2 rails and have a pickup that I just slide up and down.
Oh, get one with like a, what do they call it? A swimming pool route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll just get it in there, and I'll just put it on rails.
Now that
We just slide it up and
is
down.
a fantastic
Okay,
idea.
I'll make that happen.
That's like Dan's Frankenstein board for pickups. Let's do that.
Okay.
Obviously, it's been done before, but we're going to do it. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Simon Hosford says, greetings from Melbourne, Dan and Mick. I love the
Hey.
show. Can you have too many buffer pedals on the board?
For me, you can. Every time you add a buffer in, you're going through another gain stage, even though it's 1-to-1. But then you are going through, all those things that are in that buffer. Depending on whether you're using a transistor emitter follower, or whether you're using an op amp, whether it's an inverting buffer, whether it's a non-inverting buffer, whether you are, depending on the headroom, depending on the slew rate, depending on the noise floor, you've got all this stuff to consider with your buffer. And if you then start stacking these, into each other. Now, so, I guess looking at it electronically, I would say, absolutely it makes a difference. Is it something to be overly concerned about? If you're going through, if you've got half a dozen Boss pedals and you plug them in and you love the sound, don't worry about it. You're golden. You could tweak that, by having it's really interesting. I've just done a board. I was contacted a little while ago by Adrian Utley from Portishead, and I met him years ago, and he says, I've got this board, I'm using it all the time, I just need it tidied up a bit. And he had a load of buffers in his signal path, and he was struggling with clarity. So I left his TU2 as the input, I left his reverb as the output, and everything else was either in a loop or a true bypass thing, and just tidied things up. And he was stunned.
So you're saying that instead of bothering with buffers, you put the problematic pedals in true bypass loops,
Yep.
which cleaned his signal path up enough for him to not have to worry about the buffers anymore.
Yep. So he had a buffer at the input and a buffer at the output.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So so those Boss pedals are buffers, whether they're on or off, because he liked the sound, but he was they liked the sound of the individual pedals, but there was a clarity thing going on.
Well, that's
And also just introduced an old memory man as well.
that's your story with the gig rig, isn't it?
Totally.
You get all these pedals. They sound great individually. They suck when you put them together.
Yeah.
They literally tone suck when you put them together. So what do? You invent a true bypass loop switching system to solve the problem.
Yeah. So, in an ideal world, there are things that you can do, but all I would say is, and it's getting this question so much at the moment, and we're going to get into it. There's a best case scenario basically, but people have been using. I mean, Mike Stern's got his big thing of Boss pedals. He sounds amazing. Don't be too concerned about, if the noise floor isn't too high when you've got, half a dozen buffers in line and you're really pleased with the sound, just crack on. It's yeah. Just don't let it get in the way of you not doing your thing.
No. And if you're sort of semi-scientific about it and you listen critically to what they're doing to your sound, you should be able to make the decision pretty easily.
Yeah.
Check out, I did a video ages ago, Clean Sound, I think it's called something, it's a Marshall Plexi and a Fender Super Reverb.
It's a wonderful video.
And I talk a lot about buffers in that and the effect that it has on the sound, and it's night and day. So I think the problem occurs when the assumption is that, is the buffer going to make my guitar sound better or worse, and what can I gain from using one? Where actually the fact of the matter is look, it does this. Do you like it or not?
Yeah, absolutely that. Yeah.
You know, do you want more presence and high end and clarity and zing, or do you not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep.
Hey guys, I recently saw a video where Dan played a DS1 through an AC30. Says, do you Mac? Any suggestions on how to get those tones on a fixed income?
Oh, interesting.
On a budget?
Okay. Nothing sounds like an AC30 except maybe an AC15. The AC15 is a wonderful amplifier. So if that works with your budget, fantastic. DS1s, you can pick them up on a budget, absolutely no problem. There are loads of other takes on a DS1, but if that's the sound that you like, then yeah, just find a secondhand DS1.
Yeah, well, the new DS1's not expensive. The new DS1 is very cost effective,
Right.
I would say.
Yeah, that and an AC15.
Yeah, and there are lots of, if you look at all those kind of, I don't know, what would we call them, like OEM type brands,
Yeah,
things
right.
like that stuff that Lee does, Landlord
City
Effects,
and-
Tone City,
yeah.
you know, basically all very similar pedals rebadged with different names. There'll be a DS1 type one in
Yeah.
there, which will be really good.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the standard Boss DS1 is 49 quid or something, isn't it?
Right.
Maybe it's a bit more than that. 49 quid.
Well done. Yeah, that into an AC15. If that's if you're after that sound,
Yeah.
that'll get you there.
There's quite a few EL84 type amps. Check out, where are you? You're in the US. If you're in Europe, Thomann does a range of amps called Bugera. I think
Yeah.
I think Thomann sells to the US as well.
Right.
I don't know if they've got a US distribution business, but Bugera is worth checking out for really cost-effective valve amp.
Do you remember the Laney? It was a VC15.
Yeah, VC15 and VC30.
The VC15.
That was a cool amp. And there was an
man.
LC15 as well, which was a great amp.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Laney, we don't mention Laney anywhere near enough. Again, probably not that cheap because it's a British export to America, but Laney is a good shout. So who are the more affordable brands in the US? It'll be filling up in the comments. Good luck, Duke. Greg B is the final super chat tonight. Says, so let's say you work for Chase Bliss R&D
Right.
on the Automaton range. What other builders do you collaborate with for what type of effect? We had a similar question to this earlier.
Great question.
It's a
mate.
nice question.
Yeah. Okay. So apart from, because I did say, doing something with Joel, that'd be great. I would love to do something with Pete Cornish, just because I would love to.
So you work for Chase Bliss R&D?
Oh, if I work for Chase Bliss R&D?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you're collaborating with Pete Cornish?
Okay.
There you go. That's a great collaboration.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. On what? A Fuzz?
Man. On whatever Pete says.
Delay?
A coffee maker. It doesn't matter. If Pete Cornish wakes up in the morning and says, I want a paint stripper with, that would just be, just to be in the room. Anyway, I've talked to Pete a couple of times on the phone and I'm just in awe of the guy. Yeah.
You know that Yuki got the name Free the Tone from Pete Cornish?
No.
Because Pete says, by cleaning up your signal path and cleaning your jack plugs and doing all of that, you free the tone.
Very good.
Some sort of modulation that covered the classic ground in an analog fashion.
Yeah.
That was really good. And who would you do that with then? Because all the great analog modulations are all done by different people. I would think Jam would be a pretty good shout.
Jam would be great. I
Diamond.
Diamond. Yes, diamond. Oh man, that's a great shout.
Yeah. Or maybe even a valve preampy overdrive thing with Simon Jarrett from Kingsley.
Yeah.
That would be killer.
Modulation with diamond. Get him to that 24-volt vibrato.
Yeah.
That'd be epic.
And a delay. The delay is the one that ought to be coming out, isn't it?
Yeah,
I would have thought.
Yeah.
Who would you do the delay with?
Yeah, free the tone.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a few minutes left then. Let's go to the floor.
Beer and Coffee says, why do you guys never feature Cornish pedals?
Can't afford them.
Yeah, man, alive. Would love to.
Actually, that's not true. Can afford them. Have never chosen to afford one over other stuff. Having never played one is the truth of the matter. So if I'm going to drop 700 quid on an overdrive pedal or whatever it is, I really want to have heard it first.
I think the Pete Cornish stuff into high watts there's nothing like it. When I've heard them into other amplifiers, there are other things I've liked as much, if not better. Pete is one of those builders who I think he whether he uses high watts in his R&D, he certainly uses big clean platforms. So there's a level of compression and limiting that's very musical and so his stuff plugged into high watts isn't such a emotional experience. It's crazy good. And his treble booster is one of the best things I've heard. I'm going to call Pete tomorrow and order a treble booster from him. I don't have enough. When I did Paul Stacey's board originally, he was doing the playing with Neil Finn, and we were playing with a bunch of things in the studio, and I'll never forget plugging into the Pete Cornish treble booster. It was like, oh wow, this is amazing.
Would be good to hear some stuff. I know everyone who's got them just says they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Collins says, a decent spring reverb emulation doesn't exist, huh? It does exist. There are some fantastic spring reverb emulations, but none of them sound like a proper old valve spring reverb.
No.
That's what I was saying, Chris.
No. It's reverb is such a complicated thing. I mean, so if you go back and listen to the shows we did with real Echo Rex versus the stuff, the emulations are amazing, but if you think about how complicated that reverb sound is, it's the same sort of thing. And then the what's it called? The Carl Martin reverb tank pedal.
Yeah,
and that's the headroom, and that's a really simple spring reverb, and it's a magical sounding thing. It's I don't know. It's such a complicated thing to get right. Yeah, I'm not saying there aren't some good emulations out there, but
some fantastic emulations.
Yeah, when you get to play an original thing, they're pretty extraordinary. Brian Mills says, get Pete Cornish on the show. Brian, it would be an absolute dream come true. I've talked to friends who know Pete really well. A specific friend that knows Pete really well, and Pete, he's just not up for doing that stuff. He's and why would he? He is the gold standard with all this stuff. It would be an absolute dream come true, and he's a hero of mine. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately.
No. Ellie Dechen or Dechin, Ellie Dechin. I'm trying to figure out how to use a looper with a Taylor T5Z into an acoustic amp and electric amp using an ABY unit. The mic is going to the acoustic amp. Can the looper capture it all? Right, let's work this out then. So you've got Taylor guitar, goes into an acoustic amp and an electric amp. So there's obviously, you're using an ABY to split that signal.
Yep.
Out the guitar, into the ABY, out to 2 amps.
Yep.
can the looper capture it all?
Yeah, put the looper before the splitter.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah. Failing that, there is a stereo looper. I think TC might do one. TC Electronic might do one. Boss definitely do one.
Okay.
Where you could then come after the splitter, go stereo through the looper and into the 2 amps. It depends, because what you might want to do is, only loop one half of the signal, in which case you've got to do it after the split.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just want to loop absolutely everything you play, put the looper before you split.
There you go. Easy.
There you go. That's a good question. Rivu Music says, any thoughts on choosing chord voicings depending on the dirt pedal you're using because of the way the dirt pedal colours and pushes certain harmonics?
That is such an interesting question. I can remember when I was first getting into jazz and into extended voicings, and I remember, because I was a rocker, right? I was, just tonics and fifths. And it was like, you put that into an overdrive pedal, it sounds amazing. But you go,
yeah,
it's like, and then all those, especially when you have these flat 5 intervals,
yeah,
there's a harmonic thing that happens within the distortion, and it can sound really rough.
definitely avoiding mid-chord major thirds.
Right? Yeah. There's loads, like any close voicing.
If you hear any decent rock guitarist worth their salt play an E major chord, what do they play down? Open E major. If you can hear that, Dan's not playing the major third.
Yes. Or just muting that third.
Or even if you play it like that, but just don't push your first finger down.
Yeah, I mean that's
It's not
the
quite
edge.
minor.
The edge does that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But, however, saying that,
Incidentally, it's why a lot of metal records are recorded the way they are, i.e. with pairs of strings rather than full chords, because those harmonics just don't work across a full chord.
yeah, it can be tricky. But if you go and listen to, okay, another really good example. If you listen to Purple Haze, a lot of people play Purple Haze with a dominant sharp 9 chord. They go, and it's like, actually no. And you play it, it's like, there's something about it that sounds like it should work, but it's really tricky with when you get into that intermodulating harmonic distortion. Whereas Hendrix actually went, and there's no.
That's a different song.
That's
That's Foxy Lady.
no, that's what I meant. Foxy Lady, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's like, yeah, that works really well because you don't get that. There's no, they're really simple fourths and stuff. However, when I heard Live in Colour for the first time, and Vernon Reid Vernon Reid really knows his harmony, and he was doing, he loved getting all those sounds with distortion and stuff. It was like, that's something that my ear has come around to really, really liking. It's the more gain you use, the harder it is going to be to put those extended voicings in. Is the easiest way to explain it.
Indeed. Right. One more then, just to finish us off. We'll just take the last comment. From Sleeping Arrow. Last question tonight from Sleeping Arrow says, if I run my keyboard at line level through pedals, does the output from the pedals turn the signal to instrument level?
No. It
Depends on the pedal.
depends on the pedal. If the pedal has got the headroom to handle line level, then you won't. It's not going to. If you're saying line level is at 1 volt, then and the pedal can handle that, then you'll just get that, unity input volume at the output. Yeah, but there are pedals that can't handle that, and there are pedals that can. But But people have been using effects pedals and with keyboards and stuff ever since pedals were made.
El Deshen says again, if I put my looper before the splitter, it won't pick up my pedals. So yeah, you've got your guitar, looper, splitter, pedals, then no, it won't.
So, oh, okay.
So if you're...
Then you need a stereo. Then you need if you wanted to go to both amplifiers, you need a stereo looper. If you're happy to have it just the pedals in the chain, then you put it at the end of the pedals in the chain.
If you're sending all your pedals to both amps, put the splitter after all your pedals and the looper after your pedals, then the splitter. But if you're sending different pedals to different amps, then you need either to sum it to mono again, or you need the stereo looper.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common problem, actually.
Yep.
That I hear from people. Anyway, that's us. Folks, thank you very much for joining us this evening. These are good hangs.
They're great.
Strat stuff on Friday, this coming Friday.
Wicked.
Dan...
I did it. I made him do it.
Asking me questions about strats. So we go through some old chestnuts about strats. And...
it was epic.
It's kind of interesting.
No, it was epic, and Mick played his bum off. It was wonderful. I think I texted you the next day saying it was really inspiring because there's so much stuff that I don't know about strats, and it was so interesting. But man alive, it was wonderful, really wonderful.
Cool.
So that's a great show. We're looking forward to that one.
That's this Friday, yeah.
Wicked.
All right, people.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for being with us.
Yep, really appreciate it.
We'll see you Friday.
See you Friday. Be good.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.